I'm actually genuinely kind of excited to make this video because I feel like this is one of the best videos I could potentially make since I can relate to it so well. But I've learned and I kind of have a new way of learning and adapting and changing myself, and I feel like anyone else can as well. And if you want to change yourself for the better, and I'm not talking like financials or nothing like that. I'm talking purely like your personality traits. If you have tendencies you don't like, if you're a certain way you wish you weren't, then I think I know how to change it. Because here's what I use and adapt it into my lifestyle, and it helped me to become a better version of who I thought I would want to be. I started off as like a super quiet person who couldn't really speak up for themselves and was like super timid and like super introverted. And I still have some of those tendencies, but they're no longer as bad as they used to be because I worked on them. And I worked on them by changing the way I thought. And it all comes down to literally everything you do in your head. Any little detail to anything you could think, you have to, if you're changing who you are as a person, you have to start from the very beginning, which means the way you think of yourself has to change. And in order to do that, the way you act have to change. In order to change the way you act, you have to change why you act a certain way. And why you act comes down to your morals and everything in your head. It all starts from how you think of it and think in your head to then produce the person you become. So what I mean is, from my instance, overthinking was a huge one that I struggle with. Overthinking, um, being quiet, and not standing up for myself. Those are my three main ones that I was really bad at. And over the years, I was able to progressively get better at fixing them. And the the ones that took the longest to fix was probably the not knowing how to say no and like being like timid and stuff like that. That was really my worst one. But over time too, the more you learn how to change your mind, you get quicker at switching them and changing yourself. It didn't take me as much time to become less of an overthinker than it did to become more of a person who's not as quiet. Because as you work on it, you build the skill trait. You build the skill set to be able to change your character, your characteristics. But what you do is everything you do, everything you think of, every way you view life is like wrong. You have to view it as wrong. So when I was an overthinker, I would just overthink. Okay, what if this happens? Boom, boom, boom. Oh, this might mess up. And a small example is, let's say I'm shopping and there's a grocery cart in the middle of the aisle. This is how my brain actually works. Like I'm being for real. Like this is a real scenario what my brain would draw up in my head. Let's say I'm shopping. I need a cart. I can't find none, but there's one in the aisle. So I just grab it. Most people just grab it and continue to shop. But I'd be like, what if this is someone's cart? What if someone comes and, hey, you took my cart, this and that? What if this person has, a gun or something and they're mad and they get like my brain just thinks of all this stuff that was never even a possibility of even happening. And if it was super minute. But my brain would just make me overthink it to the point where it no longer became just grabbing a shopping cart. I'm thinking so much farther in the future of things that may or may not even happen, and it reflects my choices. So I'm like, I just won't grab that shopping cart. I'll go look for someone else's. I'll just go look for another one. When there's a shopping cart right in front of you, but you don't want to grab it because you think all this stuff could potentially happen. That's the thing. It could potentially happen. So what I would do is I'd see myself in that moment, be like, okay, I know I'm overthinking. This is me fixing it, right? I'm like, okay, I want this shopping cart. I know I'm overthinking right now. All that stuff probably won't happen. If it does, I'll deal with it when it happens. So I grab the shopping cart. And nine out of 10 times, nothing happened. I just grabbed the shopping cart. In the event something like my brain or the dude got mad, it was his cart, whatever, I handle it when I get there. That's what I tell myself. I'll handle it when I get there. Why am I overthinking this now? And 9 times out of 10, even if it was his shopping cart, no one's gonna crash out over a shop. Most people aren't gonna crash out over a shop. Oh, yours is my fault. I didn't even know. Here you go. Not that deep. But since I'm such an overthinker, I made such a small situation, such a small little interaction, so much deeper than it had to have been. And I did that for everything. So I started learning how to just adjust to it. Is the minute you feel resistance, you go into it, right? Oh, I want the shopping cart. I don't know if I should. No, I'm grabbing it, and then I grab the shopping cart and I continue to shop. I don't give myself time to sit there and start overthinking it. I just cut it into the core, get it over with. And that was the and that was it. That was what I did to get bypass all the overthinking. Another one I said was being able to say no to people and what they would think and how they view you and caring if people think, oh, you're selfish, this and that. I just reassure myself I don't care what people's opinions are. You tell yourself that enough times, you truly won't care. It doesn't matter if you fake it in the beginning, because I did at first. I'm telling myself I don't care what people think. The whole time I still do. To a degree, I did. But over time, when you keep telling yourself that, it changes your wiring in your head and you really believe what you start to say. That's why words are so powerful. People don't realize how powerful words really are, but they carry weight. If you continue to say something over and over and over to yourself, you truly will start to believe it. Once you truly start to believe it, you become it, right? So I kept telling myself, I don't care what people think, I don't care what people think, I don't care what people think. And boom, one day I just stopped caring. And it made me be able to be a lot more honest with people. Yo, can you do this for me? I need help with this, that. Yo, can you loan me $20, this and that? Yo, can you do this, can you do that? No, I'm not doing that. And you just tell them, no, I'm not doing it. They either take their answer, and that's what else can they do? That's really all it is you just being upset that you're going to be viewed differently. That's what I cared about, right? I don't want to say no because it's a piece of personal. I don't know what this personal. I don't honestly don't even to this day. I don't even know why it was so hard to say no, right? I think it's just part of going against what's it called? That confrontation. Like I just didn't like confrontation, and I'm understanding confrontation is healthy, and you need confrontation to live. Not everything you're not supposed to agree with everything everyone says. You can have confrontation. Confrontation doesn't always have to lead to a fight or a shootout. You can disagree respectfully. So that was my biggest problem. I fixed it by just telling myself in my head, I don't care what people think, and I just lived my life like I didn't care what people think, and then I eventually genuinely didn't care. And you can change yourself and become a better person. You can adapt to whoever you want to be. If you think you're too rude, you can become nice. If you think you're too quiet, you can become loud. If you think you're, I don't know, whatever the case is, if there's something about you that you don't like and you want to change, you can. You can change that about you. Like I said, it may take time at first. It always is harder to change your core personality than it is to change little parts of yourself. And my core personality was being a people pleaser, not being able to say no to people, not wanting confrontation, always being too kind, and always looking out for other people and not myself. That was my core personality traits that were just was made of me, and those were the hardest ones to break out of because that's what I lived my life by. My whole life I lived like that, so it was the hardest ones to break out of. But once you break one, the chain effect just goes down. It becomes super easier because you're no longer thinking of it as you're stuck in this box. You now have the freedom to do what you want, and it makes it so much easier. So you truly can become who you want to. People say you changed. I look at it as a positive. It's plus. It's actually amazing. It means everything you've done, everything you worked up towards to this point, has been working. Right? People don't really view me as the person I view myself as anymore, and that's good. Not everyone's gonna view you as when you start to change and you start to make progress. Most people aren't gonna pick up on it immediately because they don't know that you put yourself through the fire. Right? If you're the quiet person who's always saying yes, this, and that, and someone asks you something, you say no, they're drawn back by that. They're not expecting you to say no. You don't say no. You always say yes. So when you say no, they're like, "Oh, that was kind of weird," right? They're expecting you to still be that person. People don't understand that you can change. People expect you to stay the same. So when you do start to change, people aren't going to expect that changed personality. But that doesn't mean you go back to who you used to be because they're not expecting you to change. They're still viewing you as that person. You let them know you're not that person no more, right? You're the quiet person, and let's say, I don't know, let's say you're getting bullied in school and getting your head thrown on lockers, God forbid, but for the sake of this argument, let's say that's who you are, and you decide the next day, I'm not that person no more, right? Bully comes up expecting to hit your head in the locker, you kick him in the face. You know what I mean? It's like, that's who you are. Don't just let him keep slamming your head in the locker because that's the given. Like, people aren't going to expect that from you. And that's why the "you've changed" comment is the best comment you can ever get because it shows you've grown. People don't know how to say you've grown. They don't know how to say, "Oh, you're different." They say you've changed because you took them by shock. But that's really all I got. I just want to come here and give you guys some advice because I struggled a lot growing up with like personality stuff and not being able to be comfortable doing like I always, even though I was that person, I never liked being that person. And I always knew I wanted to change. I just didn't know how I was going to do it. And this is the steps I did to do it. I just told myself in my head, I am going to change. I am this person. And then I acted on it. So, like I said, if you're fighting your core personality, it might be a little harder. But after you break that first one, the chain effect it just gets stronger and stronger. But if you guys made this far into the video, appreciate you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll catch your next upload.